Hello everyone. Till now we have learned numbers, operation on numbers and properties of numbers. In this video we begin the study of another branch of mathematics called algebra. So this is Namita Basnotra and with me let's explore this new or we will say another branch of mathematics. There are so many branches of mathematics, like the study of numbers is called arithmetic, and the study of shapes, you have learned about figures in 2-dimensional and 3 dimensions and their properties, that is called geometry, and the study to use the letters and symbols in mathematics is called algebra. And this main feature of the branch that I'm going to introduce you, it's new for you, is the use of letters. First, learn what are the uses of learning algebra. It allows us to write rules and formulae in a general way. We learn the methods of determining the unknown, a powerful tool for solving puzzles and many problems in daily life. And the study of algebra leads to study the algebraic expressions and their properties. So there is one more thing that I want to tell you here is that the two spellings of formulae, the word which is here, since I have used, you may have come across the spellings as formulas here, like I'm writing here, okay, and this is F-O-R-M-U-L-A-S, and you may also come across a different spelling as F-O-R-M-U-L-A-E. So which one is correct? Yes, you're right, both are correct. So you can, maybe are using formulas, but then in some books you will read formulae also. So let me share with you two different news items that I read in the morning. The first one was that there was a day theft and a person came in the market and tried to snatch the money from a boy. So now the boy knows who the person is, right? He's seen the person, he can identify the person. So here everything is fixed. And in the second case where the police is chasing the person, in the second story, there also the police knows, it has identified and seen the person. So everything is fixed here. Then I read one more news in the paper. In this, there was no one in the house and the thief ran away with the valuables of the house. So the police was informed and they started searching for the evidences all over. And the police then is figuring out who can be the thief. So then they don't know, it is unknown. So in his diary he writes something like Mr. X is a thief who has stolen, but he doesn't know actually who the thief is. So and then they start their investigation further. So children, the first story here, we can relate it with constants. So constants are basically like the numbers that you have done. You have done whole numbers or fraction numbers or any numbers. So when we say a number 3 or we say 3 flowers, so you know that exactly how many flowers are there, and in your mind you can see 3 flowers, okay? Yes or no? Let me just quickly draw 3 flowers for you. Okay, so this is something which is constant. Like in the first story, they knew who the thief is. It was fixed. You can see it. So the constant is a quantity which has a fixed value. It can be 3. It can be anything. It can be a fraction. It can be a decimal. It can be a whole number, right? So children, now we can relate the second story where police is trying to investigate who has done the theft. And according to police, who has done the theft? Come on, tell me. Mr. X. So do they know who the Mr. X is? No, they don't know. So this can change. This can be anybody. It can be someone who's living in the neighborhood. It can be someone who's come from outside a different city and done the theft. So we can relate that to variables here. And a variable means something that can vary or change. Now the value of the variable is not fixed. It can take different values. So for example, in the expression 7x plus 3, x is what? X is a variable and it can take any value. So children, expression with variables, now we know that variables can take different values, okay? So they have no fixed value, but they are numbers. So operation of addition and subtraction and multiplication and division can be performed on them. So using different operations, we can form expression with the variables. We can do x plus 5, we can do x multiplied by 5, we can do x divided by 5, and we can also do x minus 5. So this is how we use different operations along with the variables and make some expressions. Now let us understand what are the terms of an expression. So that the parts of an expression which are formed separately first and then added or subtracted, okay, are known as terms. So in any expression, if you want to count how many terms are there, so you will first look at the plus sign or the minus sign because they are the term separators. So let's take an example of an expression here, 7x plus 3, and you see these two terms are added here, 1 plus sign. So that means there are two terms in this. So 7x and 3. So these are added to form the whole expression 7x plus 3. So let me take one more example here. So let me take an example where there are two different variables like 2x, and I take another one, like for example I take plus 7y and I write it at minus 3. So here clearly this is what whole. This whole is called as an yes, this is whole is an algebraic expression. And now I want to ask you how many terms are there. So when you have to look at terms, you will look at the term separators, and term separators are the plus and the minus sign, right? So that means this is my first term, this is my second term, and this is my third term. So there are 3 terms in this expression. Easy, no? So children, now I want to talk about the factors of a term. But before I tell you the factors of a term, let's recall what the factors are. For example, if I have to write the factors of 12, so what are the factors of 12? Can you tell me? Yes, 3 into 4. Or I can also write 2 into, yes, 6. So these are all factors. So let me take this one example, factors of 12, okay? And if I hide this factor 4, and I don't want to tell you, okay? And so I can hide it by using the variable there. You see, you can hide a factor like that, use a variable which is unknown. So now looking at it, the factors of 12 are 3x. So you see this 12 here and 3 by 4 is something that you did in class 5. But the moment you use a variable instead of a number, then it becomes an algebraic expression. So here 3x becomes a part of your algebraic expression. And what do we mean by 3x? 3x is nothing else but 3 into x. Okay. So that means we should know now the factors of a term. So let's quickly understand. So you have an expression, right? Expression, and expression is made up of terms. And what are terms are made up of? It is made up of, one term is made up of factors, right? And these factors can include a constant or a variable. So it can include anything. So let me write constant properly here. There's less space. Let me write it over here. So it can include a constant and a variable, right? So this is how a simple algebraic expression can be written. So with this, let's understand the factors of a term are the quantities which cannot be further factorized. Okay. So for example, in 7x plus 3, so now here the factors of the term are 7, in the term 7x are 7 and x. So there are 2 factors in this term. Can you tell me how many factors are there in this term? Yes, you're right. There are 3 factors, 7 and x and y. Okay. So let's use the variables in some common rules. So let's take an example of geometry. So what is the perimeter of a square? Perimeter of a square you have done, that is 4 into side. Okay, side plus side plus side. So when you learn geometry, you came to know that if there is a square, the side length can be anything. It can be 3 centimeter, or it can be 5, or it can be kilometers or meters, right? So what did you do? You wrote the formula in 4 into side. But with algebra, what we do is we figure out which is the constant and which is a variable. So here you clearly see that 4 is what? It's a constant, right? And side here, which is changing, which can take any dimension, is a variable. Very good. So when we know this is a constant, this is a variable, and how do we represent a variable? We represent a variable with any alphabet. So here in this example, I am representing the side with a variable L. So when you know, so what will be the formula now if you represent it in terms of a, so the perimeter of a square will be 4 into L. And another thing in algebra, beautiful about it, that it saves our time. We avoid writing this multiplication sign and instead we write 4L. So let me just rub this for you and write it neatly. So we will write 4L. So every time you see like a letter with a number, so that means they have been multiplied. They are factors of they are different factors of a term, and they are multiplied. So children, with this, can you think or write now the formula of perimeter for rectangle? Okay, let me make it easy for you. So let's keep the length of as L and the breadth as B. And now I want you to write the perimeter formula on your own. This is another very interesting thing I want to share with you. So when we did whole numbers, remember? So we were doing the properties of whole numbers, and you saw that if you add a number, if you add any two numbers, like I add 4 and 5, okay, so you find that the sum of the 4 plus 5 is 9, okay. Then if you change the order of the number, so change the order means I write 5 plus and then 4, then also the sum is 9. So you learned that if you change the order of the numbers, then the sum doesn't change. And what was this property called? This was called the commutative property of addition, you remember? And you also saw and experienced, you have done so many questions, that the commutative property of addition holds true for all the numbers. So when it holds true for all the numbers, then we cannot give this specific example. So we can make our journal, we can represent it in the journal terms by taking 4 as, or the first number as A, and let's take the second number as B. So what is the second number? That is 5 as B. So now when we take, can you write this again? So let me make some space here and let's write it in the form of, let's journalize it and write it. So 4 is what? A, right? And plus, and 5 is what? B, which is equal to 5 is, yes, B, and plus, and 4 is what? A. So now this, using algebra, we can journalize a property. And this is how we can show that this holds true for any number now. Because the variable is unknown, it can take any number, right? Easy, no? Can we evaluate expressions containing the variables? An expression containing the variable x cannot be evaluated until x is assigned some value. So what we will do is we will take this expression, that expression here is 4x plus 3, and I presume that the value of x here is 1, okay? So what happens? This will be 4 into 1 plus 3, which will be equal to 4 into 1 is how much? That is 4, right? And plus 3, which will be equal to 7. So let's take one more. If I take x is equal to 2, then what will be the value of this expression? Let's find out. So it will be 4 multiplied by 2. Yes, because the x here is 2 and plus 3. So how much is 4 into 2? That is 8 plus 3, which is equal to 11. Can you find out the value of this expression when x is equal to 10? Okay, so this I'm leaving for you. Do it. So children, this video was an introduction of algebra. I'll be coming up with more videos on algebra where I will be teaching you and how simple statements can be changed into an algebraic expression. I will also be teaching you what is an equation and how do we solve equations. So till then, this is Namita Basmaltra. Bye-bye.